Hello everybody, my name is JustJarrod, and welcome to a No Man's Sky video. Okay, there's a huge update, a huge gameplay update that was released like a couple days, yesterday. It was released at some time. I don't know when this video is going up, okay? So there's a lot of new updates on No Man's Sky. Now, first couple things I have to get through, okay? I said I would have a face cam in my videos when I did these. The problem with that is my computer decided to just totally stop working for me right at this moment when I try to do No Man's Sky videos and change my channel over. It's perfect timing. It's not letting me run Adobe Premiere Pro to edit my videos anymore. It won't let me put a face cam in it without it restarting my computer. My computer is just a piece of junk, so I will not have face cam in my video while I'm talking about No Man's Sky until I can afford to get a better PC that decides it'll let me do what I want to do for YouTube. So right now, it'll just be me talking over gameplay. Right now, what you're going to be seeing is the new gameplay that was just released. A guy by the name of David Jackson was able to, over at PlayStation Access, was able to play the game, provide new gameplay elements over on that. I will link that video in my description if you guys want to check it out. It's highly detailed. It's like 24 minutes long. I'm going to speed through and give you guys a different look and different view on the things that they were talking about, the new additions. There's a lot of crazy stuff, so we're going to get right into that. Also, I know this is my first No Man's Sky video that's going up, and I wanted to do like an introduction to No Man's Sky video, like what it is, and then that's when I discovered all the problems with my computer. The video wouldn't render properly, so that will go up eventually. I'm going to redo it, but this is going up now because this is new stuff, and I want to get it out as soon as I can. So, let's begin with this image right here. Okay, so they've changed the layout. Alright, so you've got the health in the top left hand side of the screen. The top left, the bar. That's where the health is now. And down at the bottom left hand of the screen, you've got the temperature. Temperature now displays. There's a new temperature gauge. Obviously, on this planet, Bellari 5, it's extremely cold, as it says, negative 163.4 degrees Celsius. In real life, you would be dead, but this is a game. And the bar above that, where it says the planet's name, is your thermal protection. So you also have thermal protection now. And when the thermal protection runs out, and I do believe you can upgrade your suit to give you longer lasting thermal protection, which would make sense. But once it runs out, you start losing health, as shown up there. The bar is kind of red. His health is going down. So there's a whole new screen layout. That's a new thing. So there's that. Also, you'll see that there is the degrees here is 20.4 degrees Celsius. This is a beautiful image. It's one of the best parts of the trailer. I love this spot showing the new looking ship in the sky. It's pretty awesome. You should definitely check out the gameplay trailer if you get a chance to. It's not really a trailer, it's just kind of footage. So I definitely recommend that. Like I said, it'll be in the description. So the layout has changed. The compass is still at the top of the screen, where it lets you know where certain icons are, certain buildings, certain places, certain resources and materials. But there is still no map, no mini-map, none of that. So you still have to, you know, explore and walk around. There's no Assassin's Creed style of climb to the top of the building and know where everything is. You actually have to explore. So there's that. Next, we've got, there's a new item in the game. You have binoculars now. So I guess these binoculars are, once you scan the area and you see like a building in the distance, and you could pull out your binoculars and zoom in on it, and it'll mark it on your compass. Once you target it with your binoculars, it'll mark it on your compass so you can walk there once you see it. So that's a cool addition, I think. It'll mark it for you, so you'll never have to like look at it again. It'll be on your compass until you get there, and you can explore whatever you want. Alright, now back to thermal protection. I forgot to mention, with thermal protection, once your protection is gone and you start taking damage, the way to heat up and to regain your thermal protection charge, or whatever you want to call it, is to find a cave or find a building. Caves and buildings will warm you up, so that's a good piece of information to know. Also, in this next image here, okay, right here you've got resources that you can get from plants. So that's a new thing. Usually before it was just mining resources from like crystals and different rocks, but I guess you can get silicon right here from a plant. I don't know how that works, but I guess you can mine resources, not mine, collect resources from plants. So that's a new thing. Now, the big thing that's new, okay, there's some new, this is like in-depth stuff right here. So there are monoliths in the game. Now, this confirms a bunch of stuff, okay? So there's also NPCs in the game that are alien races, alright? So these NPCs you can trade with and sell with when you find them, and there's multiple alien races. And the one that David Jackson over at PlayStation Access came in contact with was a race called the Korvax. And the Korvax are scientists. They're a science species. And different races will have different specialisms, like they'll have science, they'll have warriors, traders, I'm assuming. I only know of the science as the Korvax, as David Jackson over at PlayStation Access speaks about. Now, these NPCs, Sean Murray at Hello Games said a while ago that there weren't NPCs at that time. So I guess these are a new addition. So these NPCs you could talk and trade with. The catch is that they speak a different language than you speak, or they speak a different language that than you understand. So when you're talking to them, you don't know what they're saying. So these monoliths provide you with the story of their race, and every one you find will teach you a new word of their language. So once you find a monolith, you can interact with it, and you'll learn a new word of, let's say, the Korvax language. And once you go and speak with the Korvax, it'll then show up and replace the alien word with the word you know, so you can more and more communicate with them, more intelligently than before. So they put in this whole language system for each different race, which is just mind-boggling. This game is already mind-blowing to begin with. Now there's a huge language system for every different race. We still don't know how many races there are. I'm going to go with there's a lot, since it's a procedurally generated game, infinite planets. There's got to be a lot of races, I'm assuming. Now, with that, so when you find monoliths, you learn new words, and you talk to these NPCs, these alien races, the Korvax, whichever you want to call them. When you talk to them, you'll get a dialogue box, you'll get a conversation box will show up, and you can choose what to say. And the more words you know, the more you understand this alien race, the more intelligent you'll be able to respond to them. Now, if they say something you don't understand and you click the wrong response, they'll either be confused, they'll get angry, your reputation with that race will lower. Now you can have a good standing with alien races, or you can have a bad reputation with alien races. And that depends on how you communicate with them and what you do for them. So there are missions in the game to a point where the game isn't going to point you in a direction and tell you where to go. I do believe, and this is somewhat speculation, but I believe that Sean Murray, Hello Games, they don't want to do that. What they want to do is just, they want it to be like, if you want to do this, go ahead. And I'm thinking what it'll be like is collecting resources for alien races and whatnot will gain you standing with them. Understanding their language will gain you standing with them. Helping them out in any way will just gain you standing. And the more you understand what they're saying and the more intelligently you communicate with them, will grant you reputation with them. It'll also grant you rewards. When over at PlayStation Access, David Jackson said that you get, what he got was it regenerated his thermo protection and his health, and he also got a gun at one point from helping out the Korvax. So that's interesting. So you can get different rewards from helping out alien races, and you can increase your standing with them. That's very interesting, because I wonder if eventually that'll increase, like, it'll decrease the prices at, like, Korvax vendors, if you're, like, friends with them or whatever. They give you a discount, or, like, selling prices are higher. That would be an interesting little system that may or may not come into the game. I don't know. That's just mainly speculation on my part. So I'll say that right now so you guys don't take it as a fact. But the alien races and the monoliths, all that is legit. Which is, it's crazy because this is like changing No Man's Sky. Like, once I get into the videos that I'll be putting up, this was never expected. NPCs was never expected. So that's something to look into. That will be awesome. Also, with the Korvax, they supposedly David Jackson said they look humanoid, so that's different. So an alien race that looks humanoid, I'm assuming other races will definitely not look humanoid, because this game is totally like wacky, like nothing looks real. So I'm assuming the different races will definitely look really different. Also, with the conversations with the Korvax or alien races, if you say the wrong thing, you can't talk to them again. Once you say the wrong thing, you can't like try again and guess a different dialogue option. That's not how it works. Once you say something, and if they're like confused or get angry, that's it. Like you can't restart the conversation and, you know, try to guess the correct response. So that's kind of cool, because then I could see people just trying over and over again. There wouldn't be a point for it. So that makes sense. Okay, so now there's also terminals in the game. Now these terminals you could find in buildings, on planets, outside. Like there's terminals for everything, and you could hack. You could hack some of these terminals. Hacking them with a hacking device, an EMP device, all of which you make from blueprints and that you find throughout the world. And this hacking mechanism supposedly gives you like a number system where you have to guess a certain number sequence to get into it. David Jackson said the one he attempted was simple, it was easy, but it still made him feel like he did a good thing, or a cool thing. And so he hacked this terminal, and he said the camera zoomed out and it showed the planet as a whole from space, and it put all these points of interest on the planet that he can go check out. Now he found this terminal in an observatory, so that makes sense. So I don't think it's going to be like a regular thing where you just find terminals laying across the world and you can get all these free access points on the planets. I think it's just from the observatory, which actually legitly makes sense because it's an observatory. It observes. That makes sense. So that's cool. Also, you can hack terminals to grant you ships. I guess David Jackson, he hacked into a factory terminal and he used an EMP device to get through it, and it just gave him a Korvax ship, and he just stole it and took it. I mean, that's pretty sweet. I didn't expect all these buildings to be in the game. I expected it to be more of an exterior game instead of an interior game. But supposedly there's a lot of interior, and all the buildings and everything's procedurally generated as well with interior. But we'll get more into that in a second. Now, also on planets, there's save points in the game, and save points haven't really been talked about a lot. I heard rumors and some speculation that there were save points in space stations only, and when you go to the space station, there were like beams of light that you could step in and it would save your game. But David Jackson reports that there's also save points in certain buildings, and they act as checkpoints. So you could save in certain buildings on planets, I'm assuming. So that's cool. There's different save options. I kind of thought that they wouldn't do that because it would lean on more survival, because if you could just save everywhere you go, that's not really survival. But I'm assuming there won't be a lot. There'll be less save points, and especially there'll be less save points on planets once you get closer to the center of the universe. Okay, moving on to weapons. So guns in the game. As of right now, as of a couple days ago, we only knew that we had a weapon. It was called the multi-tool, omni-tool, whatever you want to call it, and it could do anything. You could kill creatures with it. You can mine into the ground, destroy terrain, things like that. But supposedly now there's been reports that you can pick up like sniper rifle like omni-tools that have like more of a scope of a sniper rifle, and different things like David Jackson reported that he picked up a gun that had like a grenade launcher on it, which is interesting. Not grenades, like regular grenades. I'm assuming like some kind of futuristic grenades. But we get a little taste of how guns are created. Now all the guns, just like the ships, are procedurally generated. Now I guess guns act more of a chassis, and in the gun there's slots, and all these slots you can put in different modules. So a gun with a lot of slots is a better gun generally, supposedly, probably. Okay, that's a lot of... I'm just saying, if modules are the main components of weapons, I'm assuming one with 6 modules would be better than one with 2, because you can upgrade it how you want. Now, these modules affect how the gun fires and what it fires. So that's interesting. I don't know how many upgrades there will be, how many modules, so I'm assuming a lot. Probably a lot. Also, this is speculation on my part, but it would be cool if putting different modules in like a different order in the gun would affect how it works. Kind of like how runes worked in Diablo 2. That's kind of the only relation. I don't know another game that does it like that, but in Diablo 2, which is a totally different game, don't get me wrong, there was runes that once you socketed them into weapons, if you did them socketed them in a different order, it changed the stats, changed the effect of the weapon. That would be really cool if they did this in No Man's Sky, because they already have like the periodic table, mixing elements together and not telling you how to do it, and trying to figure out how different modules work in a different order in a gun would be another sweet like test of the mind, test of like all these new things to find out on your own. That would be really cool. I really hope they do that. But once again, that's just speculation on my part. Now back to the buildings on planets. Okay, so supposedly there's locked doors in certain buildings, like factories. There's actually factories and different buildings that do different things that some of the races occupy. But supposedly there's locked doors. Now these locked doors, if you can't get into them, I don't know how you would. That hasn't been shown at all. But supposedly you could just break down the doors by shooting a hole in the wall or something like that with your gun. And you can break in, steal whatever's in there, resources, blueprints. Obviously the sentinels will come after you. More freedom, you just wreck a door down and stomp right in there, take all the stuff and leave, if you could survive the sentinels. So that's interesting. I could see a lot of people doing that to get resources and blueprints. Now the blueprints you can get from the game, you have blueprints, I'm pretty sure blueprints for weapons, armor upgrades, but you can also get blueprints for devices like hacking devices and EMPs, like I said. So there's a lot of different devices in the game. Maybe you'll be able to get blueprints for like better binoculars, better ships. I'm not sure how that'll all work, but that'll be a cool thing to see how many blueprints are actually in this game, because everything is procedurally generated, the ships and the weapons. So if you can find blueprints for these things, or blueprints for modules as well, there'd be infinite amount of blueprints. So that would be interesting to see if that's how they work with the blueprints, or if the blueprints are more just upgrades for the procedurally generated objects. Now right here you see this Korvax ship. This is the ship that David found during his playthrough in front of the factory that he hacked the terminal to get. This is the Korvax ship. Now ships, as we knew before, would have like different styles. All of them are procedurally generated, but there's a way to kind of tell what ship is what. This ship is a science ship. There's also fighter ships, defense ships. I don't know like how many others, but this is a science ship, and I think the way you could tell is just because it doesn't look like a fighter ship. It looks like more has defense, and it's maybe, I don't know what a science ship entails, but maybe it'll be able to hold more resources, collect more things while flying. Maybe once you pick up a resource, you'll be able to pick up more of that resource because you're in a science ship. I'm not sure, but this is classified as a science ship. It looks pretty dope to me. I like the round spherical look. That's pretty sweet, if I do say so myself. Now we're going to go into the space aspect of the game for just a second here. So there's new stuff all over the screen. This screenshot here. So weapons overheat. Your weapons in your ship do overheat. I don't think that's ever been shown in gameplay. Usually in Hello Games and Sean Murray are like at E3 or whatever debuting the game, they were just shooting out of their spaceship like there was no tomorrow. And there was never like an overheat factor, but as you see here, there is an overheat factor. Your guns do overheat. This is in the screenshot where they're shooting the space station, which is blowing up seemingly easily, but I know it's supposedly a tough thing to do, attack a space station. So also the screen, it shows where the planets are on the radar. It shows where you are, like down there in the bottom right hand corner says Bellari 5, which is the cold planet that I showed earlier. I think that shows like your position, your speed, all that. I'm not really sure what any of the other stuff means, but I don't know if it's actually anything or if it's just there for looks. But also we have to talk about the interior, which I did not know until recently. I guess other people knew. But the interior of your ships is also procedurally generated, so the inside will always look different. That's awesome, because I knew there was different variations, but I didn't know it was procedurally generated. Also, while we're in space, we need to talk about you can mine fuel from asteroids. So if you ever run out of fuel, we know now that you can just mine it right from asteroids. If you just are flying through space and just stop because you're out of fuel, just look for an asteroid. Supposedly you could just shoot it and mine fuel from it and keep going, which is awesome. I mean, I don't know what else you would do if you ran out of fuel mid-air. That wouldn't be good. Space stations now have interior. They had interior before, obviously, but we know now that the interior isn't always the same. Now, right here is the space station. Now, you've seen it in previous trailers where they like fly out of the huge dock. That's a space station. All space stations' interior are different, and there's shops and traders in space stations. But Sean Murray says some of the space stations can get seriously complex because of just the procedurally generatedness of it. That's probably not a word, but I'm going to use it. So interior of buildings and all that is procedural, so stuff can get pretty complex, which I think is really cool that the interior all won't be the same, because I could see how that would get kind of boring. But there are shops and traders and save points in these space stations. Also windows, so you can look out into space, which is pretty sweet. The final thing I need to talk about, which might screw with some people might not like it, there will be no multiplayer, no competitive multiplayer, no PvP aspect, nothing in this game whatsoever. Supposedly, this is kind of speculation, but in the PlayStation Access interview, David Jackson said there was not going to be any. It was just they didn't want to have that, and I don't care. I didn't want the multiplayer, honestly. I just want the game for the experience, to just walk around and feel alone. Now, the only time you'll ever see another person, obviously, is if you run into them, which is going to be really hard to do with the massive scale of the game. So some people I know will be pretty angry with the fact that there's no multiplayer, you can't join up with your friends, any of that. But I don't mind. But that's the last piece of information I have for you guys. No multiplayer or competitive multiplayer whatsoever in the game at all. So that'll be it for the update. That's a lot of stuff. I love the monoliths, I love the language. That's really interesting to me. That's going to be fun to deal with. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Remember, if you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up for me, and leave some comments. If you have some questions, leave them in the description. If you have, or in the comments, leave them in the comments, and let me know how you like the video. I know I ramble and I mess up a lot. This is my first video. I just heard this news and I'm like freaking out over it. So you gotta give me some time. I gotta get used to this recording and not playing a game like I've used to be on my channel. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you like my channel and you want up-to-date news on No Man's Sky, I will also be doing different kind of news that's not like new, just I want to have depth on my channel about this game. So also, pre-orders are out. Game comes out June 21st. Go pre-order it. It's $60 game. If you want the limited edition, you can get that at GameStop. On the PC, there's a complete edition or whatever it's called. You get like a replica of a ship or whatever, but I don't have a PC, so I can't get that. But go pre-order the game. I mean, it comes out June 21st. Release date officially announced. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. My name has been JustJarrod, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.